Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to start diving into compression next on our quick little song mixing session. So we have leveled and panned things. We've EQ'd everything and made room, make sure everything is fitting nicely. And now we're going to dive into to make, if you don't know what compression is, basically it's taking, parts of the song are like all over the place dynamically. And that's cool, but sometimes it gets out of control. And so we're going to try and tame that, bring the peaks down to manageable levels, and maybe some of the stuff that's really low up to a manageable level, and just kind of even it out. So let's dive in.
All right, so we're going to just do some creative compression here today. And again, we're using stock plugins from Logic. And I read about this a lot. I've heard people ask questions in forums. I've asked the question myself. Where do we add compression in the EQ chain? The rule that I live by is I'll do my subtractive EQ like we've done here with all these tracks, add my compression. Then if I feel like I need an EQ boost, I'll add it afterwards.
Okay.
And so the most important thing to watch out for in compression is something called gain staging. And we'll go ahead and get right in here and just add a compressor. So we're just going to use the stock compressor right here. And as this is coming up, there's a lot of bells and whistles, a lot of fancy knobs. And one thing that I like about this is it gives me different flavors. These are just different compressor settings that are modeled after real analog compressors, which I think is awesome. It's before my time and probably before your time. And so I like classic and vintage. I mean, probably like you do, I just like the way that it sounds. So for this example, I'm going to stick with vintage. Over here on the left, that's your input gain as it reads, and that's your output gain. And then speaking of gain, you have auto gain. I'm going to go through some of these settings. This isn't an in-depth look, but let me talk about them and demonstrate. So we have your threshold. Right now that's at 20 dB. If we're looking over here at our kick, let me just push play. You can see here it's at about minus 10 dB at its loudest. And so what this means is I want to add compression once something crosses this minus 10 dB threshold.
Right.
So if I'm catching something that's at minus 20, well, look where that's at. Minus 20, you got to read between the lines, but minus 20 is obviously down lower than minus 10, so it's going to catch. So I'm just going to guess. I'm going to try minus 17. Ratio is for every 1 dB over the threshold, it's going to reduce it by 1.5 dB. Okay, so I'd like to go here just at about 2. Makeup gain, we're leaving that on auto. Why? Because you don't need to be a compression ninja. You just want it to do its job. What job are we trying to do? We're trying to get the kick to be more prominent in the mix. We're trying to get it to stand out. And so as that transient passes, so that's the initial point of the sound, comes in, then it starts to drop off. We're just wanting to reduce some of that drop off. That's really what we're doing here. Then we have knee. That's, just kind of leave that there. That's for another video. Attack, how quickly the compression kicks in. A good rule of thumb when you're working with like bass or kick or low instruments is don't have a quick attack. Back it off slower. I usually find that 10 milliseconds, between 15 milliseconds works for me. Maybe it'll work different for you. And release, again, it's on auto. We don't want to be a ninja and learn all this stuff when we're trying to mix it quick. Let's just get it done with.
Yep.
So let's see what we're doing. The first thing that we want to watch on our compressor is the input and the output. We want it to be mainly the same. Why is that? Well, because we spent all this time leveling and panning, we don't really want to mess that up. So let's look at that.
That's what you meant when you were talking about gain staging.
Exactly, gain staging. So we're at about minus 6, about minus 6, 7 going out. You can see we're at minus 6.3 up to minus 8. It's keeping it a little bit closer here between 6 and 7 just before 8. So what I can say is the compressor's doing a really good job of just making it even.
Cool.
So all we're trying to do is just make the kick stand out a little more. Let me show you what happens when we add compression, more compression by reducing or dropping the threshold.
So they made it louder.
It made it louder and it made it click a little bit more.
And louder can fool us into thinking it's doing a good job.
That's right, louder can fool us. So what do we do if I was at about -6, -7, now I'm at -2? We have this output gain. So what is 7 minus 2 is 5. So we'll go here to about, ish.
4, 5.
-5. Let's see what happens.
Yep, suddenly we're back to normal.
Yeah, we're just about where we were. And it's not going to be exact. You could spend all day trying to make it exact, but this is good for us. And so what's happened is I brought out more of the clicky poppiness of the kick. Listen to it with it off. Listen to it on.
Yep.
It's a little bit more of a smack. I like that. And
Now
it's more
people can hear it with their cell phone.
Yeah. Most people are going to listen on their cell phone, right? So here we go. So we've worked this compressor on the kick. What I like to do is I like to cheat a little bit. And since I already spent the time to set up things kind of where I know I like them, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this over here to the bass right after the subtractive EQ. And let's see what happens with the bass. We're going to have to change it a little bit. Again, looking at our gain staging, -6, -7, -6 to...
Yeah, it's about right. Maybe just a little bit down.
Yeah, and it's bringing it up because we have this auto gain. And again, if you want to turn that off and get into that, you're going to be there for a long time. Again, this is called produce faster. So we're trying to just get it out. So what can we do if my incoming, my input gain is lower than my output gain? Here's another trick. Just go ahead and reduce your fader a little bit. Well, what do I reduce it to? Reduce it to a place that you feel the groove, just like you have been.
Yep.
All we're trying to do with the bass is not a whole lot's going to happen. And since we might want a little more to happen with the bass, we're just going to kind of pop this up to a little bit higher of a ratio. Again, in this stage of compression, I'm not really trying to over-compress, and it's easy to over-compress. I'm just trying to give the bass a little more smooth, smooth going here.
Yeah, you get past 3 to 4 to 1 ratio, you start turning your compressor into a limiter. So
Right.
it's not necessary.
So I can hear it a little better. It sounds nice to me. Let's just go ahead and move on. And
Who is it that says good is good enough?
I don't know. There's this YouTube channel. We'll link it to you. Good is good enough.
It's a wonderful rule to live by.
We live by it for sure. So let's go over here to the snare. And since the snare is a quicker transient, what I mean by quicker is it just snaps in real fast. Whereas
Pop the graph up, we can see it.
there we go. Whereas the bass will probably come in and roll in. Here you go.
It's just a skinnier.
See, it's like a skinnier waveform coming in. So let's look at our gain staging again. It's running pretty good. It's about 1 dB louder on average, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind. I'll just turn it down a little bit. Again, I did it with the fader here. Probably the right way to do it is on the output gain, but again, we're producing faster. We're going with the gut mix. Here's with it off. I mean, you can...
Losing some energy there.
It adds a little bit of energy to it. That's all we're going for is, can I notice it more? Moving right over. Okay, I could spend all day there. Going over to my electric guitar. Gonna just copy that. One thing I didn't do that I probably should have done, bringing up my snare compressor again, is just make it work a little bit faster.
Yeah.
There, it gives a little more snap.
Yep.
Okay, so now going back over to my guitar. Yeah. Let's look at the graph so you can see what's happening. Sometimes it's better to show and tell. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
We're coming in hot. What happens when we turn this off?
Oh, it's squashing that sucker.
Okay, so we have a problem. We have to do something different with this compressor. So we're going to make it work at the threshold of -14, and let's see what happens. now it's not squashing it so much.
Still coming in too hot.
It's coming in
Let's
hot,
bring
so
that-
watch. Just take this down until we get rid of the red. And see the big difference here? Yeah. We got a big difference over here. So we're at about let's say about -2 on average. Let's see if we can get this up to about -2.
Hear it again. Cool.
Yeah, there we go. And we're just trying to make it prominent. We're trying to tame the peaks and bring them down to the valleys a little bit more. All right, so that should be good. We're able to hear it. It's adding a little bit of color. It's taming our signal. And since this one was pretty specific, I'm going to grab this snare compressor again and bring this on here to the pad. And it's not working because, as we can see, as it's coming in here at about -18, we're at -14. So
There we go. Yeah, I'll slow it down.
-22 is bringing us up here to about -2. So it's about a 6 dB difference. So it's going about 6 dB louder, and sometimes it's not a bad thing for me, but I will just bring it down a little bit on the fader. You could do it over here. It's probably
Sometimes that brought the volume that you were not getting. It brought it where you could hear it.
yeah.
So,
Sometimes it's good just to let the compressor help you out, right? Yeah, I like how that sounds, and we'll just keep on moving right over. We have keys. Just copy it. We're going to want to tame these keys down. So let's play it through. So we're going to make this attack faster. So it's going to kick in quicker. I'm going to bring the ratio up more. So let's hear it without it. So some of this sounds like it's in a tin can. Now it's kind of evening the sounds out. You can see on the graph what it's doing there. We're at about -5 at about, maybe a little bit of a difference. Turn it down just a smidge. Seems pretty good to me.
yeah.
And we got compression on all of these channels here. So keys, pad, bass, electric guitar, kick, and snare. I think that's it.
That's it, man. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we will see you in the next video where we're going to deal with the fact that sometimes our DAW, especially Logic, tries to think for us and gives us all kinds of presets in terms of reverbs and delays. And sometimes those are cool, but sometimes it starts to compete with other things and it makes a muddy mix. So we're going to show you how to clean that up a little bit and basically finalize the track. So we will see you next time.